a couple terms that you need to remember. So you should write them down on study guide or whatever, or just tattoo them in your brain. Domain and range. This comes up quite a bit, especially in Math 11 and Math 12. So the domain is, I'll read the math definition, then we'll break it down into simpler terms. The domain of a relation is the set of all possible values which can be used for the input of the independent variable. All it means is all possible x values. Okay, the domain is all possible x values. What do you think range is then? There you go. That's it. Okay, so let's look at this. We have a set of ordered pairs here, A and B. If I'm asking for the domain, which I'm going to represent as D, so in these ordered pairs, which one is the x? First or the second? First. So the first is all the x values, right? That's an x, that's an x, that's an x. So if I said, what's the domain? You just list all the x values. So 1, 0, I'm not even going to write them in order. I'm just going to go in the order that they present them. 3, 5, -3. That's the domain. You just list the x values. What do you think I'm going to do for the range? Wow, there you go. Because the second number is the y. You just list them all. 2, 5, 8, 9. Now, if a number repeats, you don't have to list it again. So this 2 at the end is repeating, so I don't have to list it. So that's it. Make sense? Okay. Tell me the domain and range for B. No, write them down. I'll write the answers down in a second. Please. You don't have to write it. Like a repeating one? No. It's unnecessary, but I won't mark them wrong. This is a 0, not a 6. Is that okay for everybody? Okay, that's the simplest version. I give you an ordered pair, you just list all the x's, all the y's, there's your range. Now, most of what you'll see is a graph. So we have 3 graphs here. They're all the same basic shapes, has a few subtle differences. So the first one just has these dots. What does that mean? How is how are the dots different than a solid line? The other two. So the dots are the points, right? So so if we listed the points here, this point here, what would be the coordinates of that first point? -3, 0, because you'd list the x first, right? So you would have -3, 0. The second one would be what? This one right here. There you go. +1 because we went up. And then the third one is going to be -1 and 2. And then we're going to have 0 and 3. And we're going to have, I'm just going to go underneath. 1, 4, 2, 3, 3, 2, 4, 1, and 5, 0. So those are all the points. So if I said, what's the domain of that graph, what would you say? you're just going to list all the x values, right? Just like we did in the above. So it's similar to what we just did in the above. -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 4, 5. And same for the range. If I was going to do the range, you're just going to list all the y values. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it comes back down 3, 2, 1, 0. So there's really no difference between this graph when you have just dots and these lists of ordered pairs up here. It's the exact same. If you draw a line, like in B, I list all the points. You cannot list all the points. Because when you draw a line, it means you have every point on there. So you have this point right here, which has an x value of 1, 2, I'll say -2.5. It's got decimals now, right? And it goes up, I don't know, 3/4, 0.75. You're guessing. So you can't list all the points. Okay? So when it's a line, you have to do inequalities. Do we remember inequalities? When I say the word inequalities, does that conjure up anything? What? They're unequal. I can give you that. When I'm talking about inequalities, I'm talking about these things. Oh, I knew somebody was going to say that. Called inequalities. All right. Less than, equal to, all that kind of stuff. Because there's 4 of them. So let's talk about what they mean. Because everybody just thinks the alligator eats da, 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 da. They actually have definitions here. So this one with the little line underneath it is less than or equal to. The little line underneath means it's or equal to. I'll explain what these mean in terms of a graph in a second. When the little inequality faces the other way, it means greater than. And then the line underneath means or equal to. Greater than or less than. Sorry, what's that? Because it's not an equal sign. I'll explain it in a sec. Equals means it's just that. This means it's a range of things. Sometimes it's both. You'll see in a sec. This means less than, and this means greater than. Okay. Now, another piece of information. I'll wait till you write those down. I'm not going to test you on, do you know what these mean? I'm just giving you that because I think you should know it, but I'm not going to test you on that. Another thing, look at this is a solid dot here. This means it includes the number. This is an open circle, which means it does not include the number. So this has a coordinates of -5 and 0. No, not -5, -3 and 0, sorry. This point right here. -3 and 0, right? That point exists. Open circle means that point does not exist. The line goes right up to it, never actually touches that point. Yeah, it stops like just before that point. Okay? So, because we have a solid line, it's every point in between those. A shortcut, simple way to do this for Math 10 is, if we're going to do domain, You take your two endpoints, your lowest x value and your highest x value. What's your lowest x value? -3. Goes on the left. What's the highest x value? Pretend that the open circle doesn't exist. 5. I'll explain it in a sec. The x goes in the middle. Okay? Now, let's say this. I don't say the alligator. I think I have to say the alligator, and I hate saying the alligator. I hate it. Oh, I'm not trying teeth on the alligator. Okay. This is the smallest number, -3. I'm going to explain it with math, and then I'm just going to say the alligator. Okay? All right? -3 is the smallest number. Every other number is bigger than that. I agree with that. Okay. If every other number is bigger than it, yeah, I'm saying it. The alligator eats the bigger number. Okay? Right? So it has to face the x or the 5 if you want. Now, the 5 is the largest number, right? Every other number is smaller than that because they're all this. You can't see my hand. They're all that way. Okay. So every other number has to be smaller than the 5. 5 is the biggest, so the alligator faces that way. Yes. Yes. Exactly. The 3 is smaller than every other number. The 5 is bigger than every other number. Now, yeah. Now, can we be the 3, the -3? Does it exist? Because it's a solid circle. Okay? Solid circle means it includes the number, it exists. So you have to put a little line underneath because it can. No, because it's an open circle. You don't put the little line underneath. If there was a closed circle, you would put the line. So let's put that somewhere. We're running out of room here. All right, so closed circle means it's going to be that or that. You're going to have the or equal sign on the equal sign underneath the inequality. Open circle means you're just having greater than or less than. You don't have the or equal sign underneath.
I'm gonna ask questions about this.
On the test for sure, yeah. Not the quiz though. All right. Range. Now, what is your highest y value? Highest y value? 4, right? It's right at the peak here. Okay? The highest number always goes on the right. What's your lowest y value? 0. This point, 0, right? Now we're talking about all the numbers in between, so we put a y in between them. Okay. Can you be 0? You have to explain why you're saying yes or no. Every other number is higher than 0, but is 0 part of it? It's a closed circle. That is a closed circle. So we include the 0. We put the little line underneath. All right. Okay, just hang on. Hang on. Can we be the 4? Look at where the 4 is. It's right there. Is it an open circle at the top there? No. So does it include the 4? Yes, it does. It's only if it's an open circle. Okay? So it looks like that. Now, I actually don't like this method. There's another method to do. You only have to know one. Okay? I'm going to show you the other. Hesitant to show the other method, but I think we need to show the other method. Only look, it's ideal if you learn both. But for right now, my recommendation is just learn one and then learn the other one, okay? Okay. Or we're going to come back to this one over here. So, okay, the other method is you list your two extremes. So you always have to find your two extremes. The lowest x, so we'll do domain, which is -3. The highest x, which is 5. So in this method, you don't put anything in between. Okay, we use brackets. A round bracket means it includes the number. A square bracket, no, sorry, a round bracket does not include the number. Square bracket includes the number, a round bracket does not. I'll show you in a sec. Round does not include number. Okay, so do we include, is -3 part of it? We're doing the same question. Is -3, yes, so it's a square bracket. Does 5, is that included in the graph? No, because it's an open circle. You put a round bracket. That's the same answer. No, one or the other. Actually, this blue method, the one that I did in blue, is what they use in upper level math. So I actually recommend that you learn that. All right? No alligators. All right. So let's do the range. All right, let's do the range. So what's the lowest y value? 0. What's the highest? 4. Do we include both numbers? Yes, right? Because it's solid circle and there's no open circle. If there's no open circle, it always includes the number. So it's a square bracket on both. It is way faster, way easier. It's what they use in upper level math. The only thing is, do not confuse it with an ordered pair, right? See these? But you will know because they will say, so it's not an ordered pair. This is the domain. If it doesn't say D and R or domain and range, it's an ordered pair. Okay? But it'll be very clear. I'll say find the domain, find the range. All right. Yeah. Sorry? Sorry? Yeah. But you just list, this is the domain and this is the range. Yeah, what? All right. Okay, you just saw it. We're gonna practice it, people. All right, this one, what's the difference between C and B? The arrows. What do the arrows mean? They go on forever, okay? Now, if you have arrows on both, what do you want to call it? Sides, I guess, all right? It goes on forever and ever. That means the X, it's going forever in both directions, okay? So if I ask for the domain, all right, it is all numbers, right? It never stops. So if it's all numbers, you say XER, which means all real numbers. Now, what about the range? What's the highest y value? 4, right? And then it just goes down. Does it stop? No. So it's every number less than 4. Yeah, it goes into the negatives. All right, so if it goes into the negatives, do you want the inequalities or do you want brackets? Brackets seem to be the easy. I'll show both, but the brackets are the easy one. So if it goes down forever, it's negative infinity and 4. I do both. I don't. They can choose the up. It's because because that's what they do in upper level math. Nobody writes the other stuff. They like it better. They hate the inequalities. All right. Can you be at negative infinity? Can you get to infinity or negative infinity? No. So it has to be a round bracket. Infinity is always a round bracket, people. But can it be 4? So what kind of bracket? Square. Hey, we're going to practice. We're not done, okay? All right. Flip the page, please. All right. Let's do. All right. All right, domain and range. So let's do domain first. This graph on A has arrows on both arms. So it means it's all numbers, right? So what do we write? XER. There you go. All real numbers. Because it means X is in the set of all real numbers. That E thing means in the set of. All right. I just said it. That's it. All right. So if you want, you can write XER. If you want to represent that with brackets, not that I ask you to, if you put XER, that's fine. It's just from negative infinity to positive infinity. And infinity always has round brackets. It means it's every number there is. Because there's a negative infinity and there's a positive infinity. No, it's not a stupid question. Infinity's weird. We don't talk too much about it except in this case. All right. The range. What is the lowest y value? -3 right here. Okay. Okay, hey, no. Let me finish this, okay? -3. Okay, guys. You're complaining about how difficult this is, and then you just keep talking over me, okay? I know how to do this stuff. -3 is your lowest y value. It goes up forever. So if it goes up forever, where does it go to? Infinity. Can you ever get to infinity? So what type of bracket does it have? Round bracket, yes. Can you get to -3? So it has a square bracket. That's the range. All right. The semicircle. Domain. So look at your x values. What's your lowest x value? What's your highest x value? So it's between -2 and 4. Oh, t, I guess yeah, that's fine. The variables, the domain is always along the x-axis or the t-axis in this case. Okay, so we're between -2 and 4. Can you be -2? Is there an open circle at -2? Is there an open circle of 4? No. So if there's no open circles, what type of bracket do we use? Square. If it was an open circle, it would look like this. And it would have an open circle like that in it, okay? But it doesn't. All right. What's the lowest y value? -3 right there. What's the highest? 1. Can you be both those numbers? You always put the lowest on the left. You can be them? Yeah, because there's no open circles, so we put square brackets. All right, upset 3's. That's gone. We're not doing that. We're gonna go down here. Okay, I'm just gonna sketch one. All right. What if I give you this? Okay, so arrows on both ends. So the domain is either you can say XER or you can say from -infinity to +infinity, and they always have round brackets. It means the exact same thing. What's the range? You're close. You're halfway there. Look at it. It keeps going up forever. So what's the maximum value? Keeps going down forever. So what's the minimum value? -infinity. It's not x though, because we're doing range. So you'd say YER or -infinity to +infinity. Which one? Because this has a minimum, see? And then they both go up. Right? It has a minimum value and then they both go up. Yes, exactly. If it turned and went down, one of the arrows, then it would be like that. Okay. We're not doing this, so I'm going to draw another graph here. Actually, let's do a circle. Jeez. Boom. That is the graph, people. All right. All right, domain and range. So, do domain first. Domain is what values, x or y? X. What's the lowest x value you see? -2. Okay. What's the highest? It's infinity, right? Because see how it goes at an angle with the arrow? So the highest is infinity. Okay. Be -2. It's open circle, so no. So what type of bracket? Curved bracket. Can you ever be infinity? So curved bracket. Because of the open circle right there. It means that point doesn't exist. Just because. You don't have to know the why, it just doesn't. Well, welcome to the world of mathematics. It doesn't exist. It goes right up to it. It's like -1.9, -1.99, -1.9999, -1.999999, but it never gets to 2. Does not include it. Yeah, it never gets there. In grade 11, you start to learn about why there's domain restrictions. Right now, you just have to accept that they exist. Okay? Well, I can show you briefly at the end of this why some don't exist. Right now, let's just do the range and then we'll move on. Okay, so range, what's the lowest y value? -3, down here. What's the highest? Can you get to -3? Square. Can you get to infinity? Round. Done. Here, it'd be a curve bracket. You could. I could draw one like this. If I drew this, like that, then that would be a curved bracket at that point. Okay? All right. Debatable. Let's practice it first. 3A and E. 4, you got to do all of it. And then we'll deal with some stuff after. 3A and E. 4, we're doing all.